There are people who choose the hard way, every time, without exception. Someone offers them an easy path, a simple solution, a way out, and they look at it with suspicion, like it's a trap. Like ease is a sign that something's wrong, so they choose difficulty instead. They choose struggle, they choose pain, and they do it over and over again. You might recognize this pattern. You might even be living it right now. You might be the person who sabotages the good relationship, who leaves when things finally get easy, who finds a reason to suffer even when suffering is optional. And what's really twisted is that you probably don't realize you're doing it. You probably tell yourself a story about why, some logical reason, some practical explanation, anything except the truth. You're attracted to pain. Here's what's messed up about this. When life is going well, when things are flowing, when you're actually happy, there's this weird tension inside you, this discomfort, like you don't deserve it, like it's going to be taken away, like it's only a matter of time before everything falls apart. So instead of waiting for the collapse, you collapse it yourself. You create the disaster. You choose the difficult partner. You sabotage the opportunity. You find the chaos. Because at least then you're in control. At least then you know what's happening. At least then the pain makes sense. The pattern shows up in so many ways. There are people who are only attracted to emotionally unavailable partners, people who chase people who don't chase them back, who love people who can't love them, who pour their energy into relationships that are fundamentally broken, and they do it knowing it's broken. They can see the damage, they can see the ways this person is harming them, but they can't leave, because the moment that pain is gone, the moment they're with someone who actually wants them, they panic, they create a reason to end it, they run, they sabotage, they find a way back to suffering. And it's not just romantic relationships. There are people who are attracted to pain in their careers. They choose jobs that destroy them, bosses who demean them, environments that don't value them, and they still stay. Even when they have other options, even when they could leave, because at least the pain is predictable. At least they know how to navigate it. Ease feels like weakness, success feels like a fraud, so they choose suffering. They choose struggle. They choose the place where they have to fight to prove their worth. Some people are attracted to pain through perfectionism. They set impossible standards. They chase achievement after achievement. Nothing is ever good enough. Nothing is ever done. They're always reaching for something just beyond their grasp. And they tell themselves it's motivation, it's drive, it's ambition. But underneath, it's pain. It's the constant sensation of not being enough. It's the exhaustion that comes from never arriving. It's the torture of chasing a finish line that keeps moving further away. And they can't stop, because stopping would mean admitting they don't have to suffer to have value. What's really psychological about this pattern is the paradox at its core. These people don't want pain. They'll tell you they hate suffering. They'll complain about their situation. They'll cry about how hard things are. They'll list all the ways they're hurting. But when the pain is gone, when the situation changes, when ease actually arrives, they create a new one. Because pain has become their identity. Pain is what they know how to do. Pain is what proves they're real, they're alive, they're trying hard enough, they're worthy of existing. There's something about struggle that feels like proof. Like, if things are hard, then they matter. If you're suffering, then you're doing something important. If your life is painful, then you must be doing something right, because good things don't come easily. Pain equals meaning, pain equals legitimacy, pain equals existence. And so these people become pain seekers, not consciously, not intentionally, but systematically, methodically. They arrange their lives around suffering because on some deep level they believe that's what it means to be alive. But here's the brutal honesty. People who are attracted to pain aren't weak, they're not broken, they're actually incredibly strong. Because choosing pain takes power, seeking out suffering takes energy, maintaining a relationship with someone who hurts you takes dedication, sabotaging your own success takes skill. These people are using all their strength in the wrong direction. They're using all their power to create the exact thing they say they don't want, and they're doing it perfectly, consistently, without fail. What's interesting is that people attracted to pain often have a narrative they tell themselves about why. I'm just someone who struggles. I don't deserve easy. People like me have to work for everything. Nothing comes naturally to me. I'm not lucky like other people. These aren't just random thoughts, these are belief systems, deep beliefs, foundational beliefs about who they are and what they deserve. And they spend their entire lives proving those beliefs right. They collect evidence, they orchestrate situations, they choose circumstances that confirm their story, because being right about your pain is almost as good as not having pain. At least then you understand it, at least then it makes sense. The addiction to pain can also show up as a form of control, because when you're creating the pain, when you're choosing the difficulty, when you're engineering the chaos, you're in control. Unpredictable pain is terrifying, but pain that you orchestrate, pain that you choose, pain that you create, that's manageable, that's predictable, that's something you can navigate because you know it's coming. It's like choosing between unexpected violence and the violence you're inflicting on yourself, and somehow the self-inflicted pain feels safer. There's also a weird comfort in pain. Suffering is a language everyone speaks. When you're suffering, you get attention, you get sympathy, you get to be visible. People who are attracted to pain might not realize this is happening, but somewhere deep down, there's an awareness that pain gets you seen, pain gets you heard, pain gets you acknowledged. And if you've learned that you're invisible when you're okay, if you've learned that you're overlooked when you're happy, then pain becomes the way to exist. Pain becomes the way to matter. And here's something nobody talks about. People attracted to pain often have a very specific type of self-compassion, the compassion of suffering together. They connect with others through pain. They bond through difficulty. They feel most understood when they're struggling alongside someone. And the moment that shared pain is gone, the moment things get easier, the connection feels like it's disappearing. So they create new pain to maintain it. They find new reasons to struggle. They keep themselves in situations that hurt because at least then they're connected. At least then they belong. The tricky part is that this pattern usually has roots, deep roots. There are usually reasons why pain feels safer than peace. And these reasons aren't small. They're not something you can just think your way out of. They're patterns that have been running for years, sometimes decades. And while I could tell you it all goes back to childhood experiences, here's what I've noticed. That story doesn't help you. That story makes you feel like a victim of your past. It gives you an explanation, but not a way out. So let me say this instead. At some point in your life, something happened that taught you pain was normal, that taught you struggle was the default, that taught you ease was dangerous. Maybe it was something big, maybe it was something that looked small from the outside but felt catastrophic from the inside. Maybe it was repeated, maybe it was relentless, maybe it was about not getting what you needed, or about losing something you had, or about being in an environment where difficulty was the only language being spoken. You learned a lesson, a deep lesson, and that lesson became the foundation for how you see yourself and the world. And here's what happened as a result. Your nervous system learned that pain meant survival, that struggle meant safety, that if you weren't suffering, you weren't trying hard enough, that if things were easy, you were missing something. Your body learned to seek out the conditions that felt familiar. Your mind learned to create explanations for why you needed to suffer. Your emotions learned to attach themselves to pain because pain was what felt real, what felt true, what felt honest. But here's what changes everything. You can learn something different. Not easily, not quickly, but you can. You can begin to notice the pattern. When you're about to sabotage something good, you can pause. When you're choosing the difficult option without reason, you can ask why. When you're creating pain that wasn't there before, you can stop. Not because you want to become someone who doesn't struggle, but because you deserve to struggle for something that actually matters. You deserve to have your strength go towards something that builds you up instead of tears you down. The path out of attraction to pain starts with awareness. It starts with noticing when you're doing it, noticing the sabotage, noticing the pattern, noticing the way you keep choosing the same pain in different packages. And then it starts with compassion, not judgment, not shame. Compassion for the part of you that learned pain was the way to survive. Compassion for the part of you that still believes pain means you matter. Compassion for the ways you've been trying to survive with the only tools you were given. And then, slowly, you can start to question the narrative. Is it actually true that you don't deserve easy? Is it actually true that pain means you're trying hard enough? Is it actually true that you're only valuable when you're struggling? Or were those lessons that made sense at the time, in a different context, in a situation that's no longer yours to live in? If this resonates, if you're seeing yourself in this pattern of being attracted to pain, of choosing struggle when peace is available, of sabotaging the good things in your life, know that you're not broken. You're not weak. You're strong in the wrong direction. But that direction can change. That strength can be redirected. You can learn to choose differently. Not overnight, but you can. Understanding these patterns, understanding why we do the things we do to ourselves, that's what we explore here at The Forgotten Self. We're looking at the ways we betray ourselves, the patterns we don't even see, the parts of us that are still trying to survive circumstances that no longer exist. If this helped you recognize something in yourself, subscribe, because we're building something here. We're creating a space where the patterns get named, where the pain can finally be acknowledged and released. Until next time, be brave enough to choose something different, even if it feels wrong, especially if it feels wrong.